Nichols begins in Memphis in just a few hours. His family says the service will focus on justice and not politics. I'll have the latest.
Good morning. I'm Trevor Shirley, live in Washington. For the first time, President Joe Biden is sitting down one-on-one with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Their main goal today, figure out what happens next with the debt ceiling. I've got a look at that coming up ahead.
Good morning. I'm Jessica Holmes. The Biden administration is going after Apple and Google stores. We'll explain why.
Good morning. I'm Sam Rubin. New here at 8 o'clock. It is the super sexy movie that Selma Hayek says nearly did her in. You'll hear Selma's story and your chance to go to an advanced screening of the new Magic Mike movie, plus the really, really good actor Joe Morton on the way here live.
All right, good morning, everybody. Clear skies today. Beautiful weather over the next couple of days and even warming temperatures where we go back up to the upper 60s and low 70s for the weekend. It's going to look absolutely beautiful. Even downtown Los Angeles today hitting 70. Coastal 64. San Fernando Valley at about 69. 57 in the high desert. Inland Empire 64. Orange County Inland 67 degrees. Let's go to Ginger and see what's going on in traffic.
And I do have to say, it's the Grant Turner Scouts Spirit Awards because Grant Turner, it is in honor of him, and so I want to make sure that I protect his legacy and give that true honor to Grant Turner and his family. Let's make sure you know this, going back to my son's award last night. But let's talk about your ride. We have a few things. This 210 westbound side at Azusa Avenue. So the SIGALERT continues. Left lane's blocked, and we're hoping, in this hour they'll have those lanes cleared up because you see the heavy delays, and that eastbound side is fairly challenging as well. 91 freeway, the westbound side right here at about Bellflower Boulevard. It sounds like it's several cars still sitting in the left lane. Man, that's a real tough go at it. I do like Artesia Boulevard to get yourself around it. Maybe you can take it. I know it does fill in, but I think that is still a much better bet. Even Alondra Boulevard slightly farther to the north. I probably wouldn't take the 105. I just feel like that's filled in pretty quickly, and that's also because of some earlier wrecks that we had that really just put the pinch for the drive here. And you see east is busy as well. And eastbound side, Artesia is a great way to go for sure. We'll watch and keep track of all these things that are popping up. I'll send it back to you.
Mourners will gather in Memphis later this morning to remember Tyre Nichols. They will celebrate his life, but also demand justice following a severe beating at the hands of 5 police officers. KTLA's Eric Spillman in the newsroom with that story for us. Eric, good morning.
Morning, Frank. The funeral for Tyre Nichols has been delayed a few hours because of bad weather in Memphis, but some high-profile guests are on their way. We want to show you some pictures just into our newsroom. Vice President Kamala Harris has just left Joint Base Andrews outside of Washington, D.C. She is on her way to Memphis to attend the funeral. As many as 2,500 people are expected to be there for the service. It has been 3 weeks since Tyre Nichols died. Today, his family will lay him to rest, and they want the world to learn more about what kind of a person he was. Friends describe him as joyful and kind and quick with a smile. When he walked into a room, everybody loved him, says one person who knew him. He had a passion for skateboarding, taking pictures of sunsets. He grew up in Sacramento and was a big fan of the 49ers. He moved to Memphis before the pandemic, and he stayed because he was close to his stepfather and his mother who lived there. He even had his mom's name tattooed on his arm. His funeral will begin at 11 this morning, our time, at the Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church in Memphis. The Reverend Al Sharpton will deliver the eulogy. Family lawyer Ben Crump will make a call to action. Among those attending the service, the vice president and members of George Floyd's family.
Justice for Tyre. Justice for Tyre. Justice for Tyre. Justice for Tyre.
Last night, Nichols' relatives and civil rights leaders spoke at the same church where Martin Luther King Jr. gave his last speech the night before he was assassinated. They promised to fight for police reform in Tyre Nichols' name so that what happened to him won't happen again. And they said they would lobby Congress to pass the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, which would set up a federal database for police misconduct, provide money for investigations into excessive force, and make it possible for people to sue police officers for their actions.
You must get rid of qualified immunity.
Yes.
Where
yes.
police know
yes.
that they can lose their house, their car, and everything else.
5 Memphis officers are facing second-degree murder charges for brutally beating Nichols. A Memphis news outlet is reporting that 4 of the 5 had either been reprimanded or suspended previously. They'd been disciplined Scene of crimes, and according to that report, they had faced little or no consequences for those violations. Jessica?
Okay, Eric, thank you for that this morning. Now to new details about a story that we're 66-year-old George Ramirez and 43-year-old David Ramirez. Sky 5 was overhead yesterday morning as detectives were searching the home and the neighbor's backyard. Many in the neighborhood say they are shocked this happened, speaking highly of the victims.
They always thought about their kids. They gave everything for their kids, their grandkids. It's amazing how they held together, with all the things they had to deal with.
It is still unclear what led up to the shooting.
A freeway worker was rescued overnight in Orange County after he got stuck in power lines. It happened just before 1 o'clock this morning on the westbound 22 freeway at Main Street in Orange. The contract worker was changing light bulbs above the freeway in a cherry picker. He somehow got entangled in those power lines. Edison arrived, turned off the power. The man was able to lower himself to safety. Firefighters say he was lucky.
How lucky is he? I'd buy a lotto ticket, right?
Fortunately, that man was not hurt.
Developing news, a driver who led authorities on a stolen vehicle pursuit is in custody this morning. He's facing murder charges after slamming into a passing vehicle, killing 2 innocent people instantly. KTLA's Carlos Herrera live in Panorama City now with the latest. Carlos, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Jessica. Family and friends of the victims that lost their lives here late last night have started to show up here at this intersection, dropping off flowers, lighting candles as well. We've learned one of the victims is Chris Teagarden, 46 years old, who lives in Granada Hills. He was the passenger in that sedan that was crashed into by that stolen pickup truck. Joe Allen here this morning. You lost a little brother and you're absolutely devastated.
I am. It shouldn't have happened. Like, I came here to bring flowers just to make sure that everything was picked up. He was my little brother. He was a husband, a father. He took care of our mom. It just shouldn't have happened.
He leaves behind an 18-year-old son.
An 18-year-old son. My nephew was his best friend. They're his best friend. My nephew hasn't slept all night. Neither has my mom. We just don't understand.
You're absolutely heartbroken, and we understand that. You were showing us a photo of your brother earlier this morning. We're going to go ahead and try to zoom in here because again, you just walked up here.
Yeah.
Absolutely devastated. Where were they headed? He was with someone else who was driving that truck. Tell me about that person.
He was with a good friend of ours named Little Timmy. Timmy Bro is what we called him, and they were heading back from getting tacos, heading home.
Tim Schultz, also from Granada Hills, in his 50s. You feel like you lost 2 brothers because he was like family for you.
He was family. I've known him since he was like 4. We've been all together, growing up together, over 40 years.
They knew this road. They knew this intersection. It's not the first time they drove by here.
No, my brother and I used to live down the street. My grandma worked at this Kaiser, so we were here all the time. We know this intersection.
Innocent lives taken.
Innocent for no reason. It didn't have to happen this way. For what? A 20-year-old stolen truck? It doesn't make sense to me.
Joe Allen, thank you for your time. We're with you for anything you need. Let's take a look at some video here to give you an idea of what exactly happened here late last night. It all started around 7:50 last night when LAPD officers spotted a stolen black Toyota Tacoma near the 10,600 block of El Dorado Avenue. That chase went through the 170 freeway and surface streets. It ended just a few minutes later with that violent crash here on Lanark Street near Woodman Avenue. Authorities say the identified driver of that crash, of that pickup truck, 32-year-old Oscar de la Cruz,